Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Azure Infrastructure Update. It is the 5th of June, and hopefully on Friday you got to celebrate National Donut Day. As always, this is useful. A like and subscribe is appreciated. And obviously last week we had builds. There were a huge number of updates, so this week is pretty quiet. As always, I have the chapters for the particular updates that are available this week, so you can jump around as required. New videos this week was very Azure AD focused. I did a video exploring the Azure AD certificate-based authentication. This is a big driver for many organizations today to use certificate-based authentication, maybe on a smart card, maybe on a USB device. It has the benefit of it travels with the user. It's not tied to a particular device. So I went through how I can do that natively with Azure AD. And then if you are using other clouds beyond just commercial, like Gov or China, I can now do cross-cloud Azure AD B2B to maybe leverage just one identity in other cloud environments as well. New updates on the compute side, the new NCA100 V4s have gone GA. So the big deal here is these all are about the NVIDIA Tensor Core based virtual machines. So this is the A100 80 gigabyte Tensor Core PCI GPU based on the 3rd gen AMD EPYC Milan processors. It's got a huge boost on performance compared to the previous generation. And these range from 24 virtual CPUs with 220 gigabytes of RAM with one of those A100s, all the way through to 96 virtual CPUs with 880 gigabytes of memory and 4 of those A100s. And there's kind of a version in the middle. So if I want to do those really GPU performance bound AI training type scenarios, those inferencing workloads, this is a great platform to be able to do that. And then the new version of the L series. So these are the storage optimized. There's a version that is Intel based, so that's based on the 3rd gen Xeon Platinum, the Ice Lake processors, or if it's the LA, then it's using the AMD EPYC based options. So all of these are the latest processors. So these are very high throughput, very low latency. They have local NVMe storage. And obviously that local NVMe storage is not durable beyond the life cycle of that virtual machine running. So if I deprovision, if I stop the virtual machine and stop paying for it, any content on that local NVMe is lost. So a common pattern might be, hey, I have multiple of these and the application, maybe a database, is synchronizing data between them. So I have durability that way. Maybe I also have the data written somewhere else. They do also have huge just network and storage throughputs. If we actually go and take a look at these, so we get a lot of capabilities available. So I have the memory preserving updates. So when there are updates required on the underlying host, rather than shutting down the VM, it freezes it in memory, reboots to the host, the new version of the image, and then just unfreezes the virtual machine. It has accelerated networking. It does support the new VMSS Flex in terms of those capabilities. And then I can see, hey, this different characteristics, but notice you get this NVMe local storage. So you get a number of these based on the size of the virtual machine you create. And it does have these very large network and data disk throughput numbers. So if I need really, really high performance on my storage, or if I want that very, very high performance, super low latency local storage, and I have the architecture in my app to handle the durability of the data on those local NVMEs, then this is a great option. On the networking side, so Azure Bastion now supports IP-based connections. Remember, Azure Bastion is that managed jump box. Ordinarily, what it lets me do is I can go via the Azure Bastion, via the portal, or maybe even the native tooling using the AZ commands. I can RDBP, I can SSH to my VNet-based resources. So these VMs could be in the same VNet I've deployed my Azure Bastion, or they could be to peered VNets. What this new IP-based connection enables me to do is once I turn this on as a configuration on my standard SKU, Azure Bastion, well, I can now just type in an IP address. That IP address could be anywhere as long as there's a network connection from the VNet of the Bastion. So this could be on premises. It could be I have a site-to-site VPN between my Azure VNet and on premises. It could be express route private peering. But now through the managed jump box service of Azure Bastion, I could go and connect to resources as long as that has connectivity. So, hey, that is now GA. And Azure WAF policies, remember the Web Application Firewall, this is something I can pair regionally with Azure App Gateway. It can be something global with Azure Front Door. But now the policies I can define via the Azure Firewall Manager. So historically, Azure Firewall Manager is for Azure Firewall policies. But now I can also manage those application delivery platforms is a new option that will let me specify the policies for the various WAF offerings, be it regional with App Gateway or global with Front Door. It does also let me move from legacy to WAF policies for App Gateway. So really just bringing a central point together for the management and deployment of those WAF policies. Miscellaneous, so Microsoft Entra is announced. Whoops, click that again. So this is really a new product family. It talks about Azure AD, permissions management, which was CloudKnox, that acquisition, and verified ID, i.e. decentralized identity. So all three of these are now under this new umbrella. Today it's not changing licensing, it's just bringing them together. There's this new central portal I can go and access, but expect, I think, more to come over time. But today it's really bringing together the core identity offerings, Azure AD, permissions management. Permissions management is all about, hey, I'm worried about identities of all different types, getting too many permissions, having a workflow base, giving them permissions as they need it, tracking all of that across Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, and of course, the decentralized identity, the idea that, hey, someone can issue certain claims about my identity I have, and then someone else can maybe go and check those, wants to consume it as some kind of validation. So all of those are under this new umbrella. Then we also have the Microsoft Artifact Registry has gone GA. So this is really now a central place where I can go and view all sorts of artifacts, container images. I can also see things via the partnership with Docker that might be on Docker Hub. But it's just a way to go and look around at all of the different types of artifacts that are available. I can, of course, go and search for particular things I'm interested in, but it's really just, hey, this updated registry where I can go and see everything that's going on in the environment. And then finally, for the updates, we do have the May Azure Cost Management updates. This is really focused around, there was a thing I talked about previously about anomalies. Well, now one of the things I can do is, firstly, there's this new Microsoft Cost Management, bringing together Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, all of the different offerings into this new Microsoft Cost Management solution. But now I can actually set up alerts when anomalies are detected on how consumption is happening within my particular subscription, for example. So it can now actually ping me via an email alerting when something's happening. It's now grouping child resources together. So instead of having resources that really all are tied together randomly throughout the report, what it's now actually doing them is showing it as, hey, here's the parent resource, and then here are the other charges related to it. So it makes it easier to see those all up things. And then, hey, the regular kind of notifications and things you can go and check on. So that was it. I said it was a super short week. As always, I hope that was useful. And until next video, take care.